What's up, guys? Mr. Octagonal here from Octagonal Gaming. Now we are starting a new series here on the channel. It is an expansion MyLeague. Now, normally when I do like two of like a MyLeague or a franchise in a certain game, the second one isn't as formal because like the Hawks one isn't going anywhere. Don't worry, Hawks ain't going anywhere. But like the Hawks one is like formal, like where I have some post comms, some live comms, and post comms. I have like a scoreboard and stuff. And usually, like, unformal series is, I can be a little biased. Like, I try not to be biased in the recordings. Like, I'm not, like, in the recordings, like, let's just use the recent Chargers episode, for example. Like, the James Brandstater game winning field goal. I wasn't like, yay, James Brandstater, the game winning field goal, we win. I didn't use we, I didn't say, like, yay. Like, I try not to be biased, because I think that's, like, realistic. Like, that's, like, when you see, like, a highlight on ESPN, I don't think not for recorders, the commentators are being biased. But a lot of those series, like the informal series, don't really work out. So this is going to be very similar to the Hawks MyLeague, just obviously not with the Hawks. So today we're going to have the expansion draft and stuff. We're going to look at the uniforms. So we are the Baltimore Buccaneers, and the other expansion team is the San Diego Panthers. So let's take a look at the unis. I really like our uniforms. I also think we have a sick logo, and the San Diego Panthers, they have some nice uniforms as well. Their logo honestly looks more like a baseball logo, though, not that it really matters. So, setup options, that's fine. We can do normalized stats, so like our stats can go up. I might do that for Hawks too, if you guys want. The quarters are on 8 minutes for the Hawks, and that's what I'll do for this. Expansion, 7 or 8. I'll do 7. I think this is all good. I like to turn these off, because like they're not even really that realistic. Like the Pistons and the Blake Griffin trade, they also got Willie Reed and Bryce Johnson, and not even a week and a half later, we traded both of them away for James Ennis and Jameer Nelson. So these don't really make that much sense. Oh, well, financially I do need on it. I just turned that off for rebuilds, but for this, I'll keep it on, Seppian off. Yeah, I think this is all good. So, of course, the team we'll be selecting is the Buccaneers. We also have I almost said the Padres for a second, the Panthers over there. So, expansion draft. Who will get the first pick? And who will the first pick be? But we need to see who's getting unprotected. Team's going to only protect 7 players. I don't know if that's too little. I don't know if 8's too much. The Sixers, they're not, they're doing it for Ersan, who they just signed, and Marco Bellinelli, who they also just signed, instead of like J.J. Redick or T.J. McConnell or Timothé Luwawu. Interesting. The Bucs are doing it for their 6 best players and Thon Maker. The The Bulls are doing it for their 6 best players. A little surprised they're doing it for Robin Lopez instead of like a David Nwaba. The Cavs are doing it for their best players, which kind of makes sense. No one too enticing from Cleveland. Celtics, they have a few enticing players. Gershon Yabusele, Semi Ojale, or Samanjaway, Ojuwanjaway, as I like to call him. Daniel Tice, Terry Rozier. I wouldn't be surprised if Terry Rozier goes first. Clippers, Montrezl Harrell, Boban. For the Grizzlies, they have a few solid young players like Kobe Simmons, Ivan Rapp, Wayne Selden, go Kansas. Dylan Brooks is being unprotected instead of Chandler Parsons. That's very surprising. Hawks, Mike Muscala, Isaiah Taylor, no one too exciting from the Hawks. The Heat, Dion Waiters is being unprotected. Kelly Olynyk, Wayne Ellington. The Hornets, Batum, Kid Gilchrist, Hernan Gomez. For the Jazz, Jay Crowder. For the Kings, they have a plethora of young players down here like Justin Jackson, Frank Mason. I did not know they had Bruno Caboclo. Interesting. I knew he got waived. I didn't know he signed with the Kings. The Knicks are leaving Kyle Quinn unprotected. Trey Burke, obviously Joakim Noah. The Lakers, Ivica Zubac, Josh Hart. They're unprotected. For the Magic, they're doing their 7 best players as well, which probably makes sense. That's probably who I'd protect if I were them. The Mavericks, Wesley Johnson unprotected. Yogi Ferrell unprotected. That could be a good pick. The Nets are just leaving a lot of young players, but Karis LeVert and Alan Crabb, even though Alan Crabb's on a gigantic contract, he's still a very good player in 2K, or at least I play very well with him. But Karis LeVert, that's a surprise. Instead of like DeMarre Carroll, I don't know. The Nuggets are doing their 7 best players. Wilson Chandler, Mason Plumlee, Juan Hernan Gomez, Malik Beasley. I'd probably do these top 6 and then instead of Kenneth Reed, Malik Beasley or something like that. Pacers, Bogdanovich, Trevor Booker, Corey Joseph. They're unprotected. For the Pelicans, probably the guys who I'd protect as well. Maybe you could debate like a Jinka, but who else would you do? Maybe protect Rondo. Protecting their young guys down there, that makes sense. Pistons, their 5 best players. Stanley Johnson and Luke Kennard, that makes sense. Henry Ellenson. The Raptors, Norman Powell is being unprotected. OG Anunoby protected, that's pretty obvious, I'd say. The Rockets are not protecting Terry Rozier. No one else really of interest on the Rockets. BP3, Dejounte Murray is being unprotected instead of Davis Bertans and Patty Mills. Or Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol is on a gigantic contract and he's old. Bertans is okay, and Mills is on a pretty big contract. Interesting decision from the Spurs. The Suns are doing their 5 best players, as well as Marquise Chris and Dragan Bender. The Thunder are unprotecting Kyle Singler. If the Panthers take him, then they're idiots. And that's a spoiler because we're not taking him. Andre Roberson. For the Timberwolves, Nemanja Bjelica, Tyus Jones. Interesting. For the Trailblazers, Caleb Swanigan. Brandon Rush is still in the league. Did not know that. Such a great rookie year. Oh. No, he didn't. I thought he was going to be really good. Wasn't he supposed to be really good and then the injury stopped him? I could have sworn. Go Kansas. But Caleb Swanigan, I could have sworn. That was Brandon Rush, right? I'm not an idiot. It was Brandon Rush who was going to be really good. The injury stopped him. Ed Davis, Mo Harkless, unprotected for the Blazers. For the Warriors, Zaza. Probably pretty much, yeah, this is probably who I'd protect if I was the Warriors too. For the Wizards, Mike Scott is being unprotected. Tim Frazier. I'm guessing Kelly Oubre is being protected. Yep, go Kansas. So, expansion draft. The Panthers are on the clock first, and they take Terry Rozier. I had a feeling it was going to go first. Not too surprised by this pick. The Bucks are just going to pick young players and more young players. They're starting off this draft with a player who they think has the most potential in this whole expansion draft, and that is Dejounte Murray. He can become a really, really good player. This is a very good pick from the Bucks. With their second pick, the Bucks are going to be selecting the wing from the Toronto Raptors, former second-round pick Norman Powell. So Dejounte Murray and Norman Powell are now Bucks. TJ McConnell is headed to the Panthers, so they've taken 2 point guards. They also take Montrezl Harrell. So the Panthers are also going young as well, as their oldest player is 25. The Bucks are going to go with another wing player, and that is from the Denver Nuggets, Malik Beasley. And Malik Beasley is now on the Bucks. The Bucks will also be selecting from the Charlotte Hornets, newly acquired by the Charlotte Hornets, I might add, Willie Hernan-Gomez. So Malik Beasley and Hernan-Gomez are now on the Bucks. Panthers select Kelly Olynyk, who's on a pretty big contract, as well as Trevor Booker, who isn't really considered young. In the 5th round, the Bucks are going to be going with a rookie sharpshooter in DJ Wilson. So DJ Wilson is no longer on the Bucks, and he's now on the Bucks without a K, I guess, or the Buccaneers. So DJ Wilson, he's still on the Bucks, but just a different type of Buck. In the 6th round, the Bucks are going to be going with another big man, and that is Caleb Swanigan, the rookie out of Purdue for the Trailblazers. So they take 2 power forwards. The Panthers selected Jay Crowder, newly acquired by the Jazz, and they also take Trevor Ariza. A little surprised this player is still available. That is Yogi Ferrell, the second-year man from Indiana and the Dallas Mavericks. So he's going to join the Bucks. And they will also be selecting the rookie guard out of Kansas, go Jayhawks, and the Sacramento Kings in Frank Mason. So the Panthers take Karis LeVert. I don't know how he fell this far. And Josh Hart. The Bucks are finally going to take a veteran, and that is the center from the New York Knicks, Kyle O'Quinn. So they're taking a former Knicks big man in Hernan-Gomez and a current Knicks big man in Kyle O'Quinn. The Bucks are going to be taking the young wing from the Memphis Grizzlies and from the University of Oregon in Dylan Brooks. So he joins the Buccaneers. The Panthers take Tristan Thompson, the former Cleveland Cavalier, as well as Mike Scott. In the 11th round, the Buccaneers will be selecting the third-year guard from Duke, Tyus Jones. He hasn't really done too much for the Timberwolves, and he almost was a lottery pick, I think, but he fell to pick 24, so he's going to join the Bucks. The first Golden State Warrior player to be taken, and probably the only one, because I think he could only take 1 player per team, and the Bucks will be taking the 21-year-old from UNLV, Patrick McCaw. He already has a championship ring, you know. The Panthers take Tyler Ulis, as well as David Nwaba, so the Bucks have 2 more picks, and the Panthers have 1 more pick. The Bucks know who they will be using their last 2 picks on. The first one is the rookie small forward out of Kansas State, Wesley Iwundu, and the next one is the second-year man for Marquette, Henry Ellenson. So very young draft from the Buccaneers, and Mr. Irrelevant in the expansion draft is Mike Muscala. So Terry Rozier goes number 1 to the San Diego Panthers. Deontay Murray goes to the Bucks, as well as Norman Powell, Malik Beasley, Willie Hernan-Gomez, DJ Wilson, Caleb Swanigan, Yogi Ferrell, Frank Mason, Kyle O'Quinn, Dylan Brooks, Tyus Jones, Patrick McCaw, Wesley Iwundu, and Henry Ellenson. So this Bucks team is not good at all, but they're awfully young. So I'm just going to download a draft class. I'll do that. Let's look at the final roster. The Bucks are going to make probably their first and only trade before the start of the season. That is sending Kyle O'Quinn, Henry Ellenson, and 2 future second-round picks to the Phoenix Suns for Shaquille Harrison and the Miami Heat's top 5 protected first-round pick this year. Here's the rotation of the Buccaneers. We'll be going with Deontay Murray, Norman Powell, Dylan Brooks, DJ Wilson, and Willie Hernan-Gomez off the bench, Yogi Ferrell, Tyus Jones, Patrick McCaw, Malik Beasley, and Frank Mason. So next episode will be opening day against the Los Angeles Clippers. So stay tuned for that.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. Loving plastic, it's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination, life is your creation.
Yo, hey, man!